Hello VC, Steve Whitty here with a new video. First one in nearly 2 weeks. I've been a little bit quiet, had some time off work and just chilled out. Been a bit busy when I got back to work, so I had time. I've also been a few changes going around with me. Most important one is that I've recently changed the cartridge and shell on my turntable. For those of you who don't know, I have a SoundLaugh G056F, which is basically sort of one of these versions of the Technics turntable. You know, the DJ wants. It's nowhere near as good as that. It's very plasticky. However, for £30, I purchased an Audio-Technica N91 cartridge. It has a head shell on the shell on it, so it's just a case of just twisting it off and replacing the shell, and it feels like I've got a brand new turntable. You know, for just the case of cost of £30. Sometimes it's the little things that make the difference. And I've never been really what you call an audiophile. I just listen to the music and I'll pick it up as how I see fit. But I did really notice the difference, and I suppose it's those, as I said, those little things that make the difference. As the video is going to explain, this is called And the Band Plays On. So I'm going to show 10 albums that I've played over the past few weeks by bands. Sort of like follows on like Let's Hear It for the Girls, female singers, and I'll probably do something for male singers as well. So you can see where I'm sort of starting to go with now on my videos. I've got a few ideas to do videos, but they're taking a little bit of work to do, and I want to make sure they're good before I put them out. So, without further ado, let's look at the 10 albums with bands I've been playing. First up, this is the best of GERRY and the Pacemakers. I'm trying to think when this came out. It's not really clear. It's not clear on Discogs. Let's see, it's on the EMI label. No, it just doesn't give an idea when it came out. As it states, it's the best of GERRY and the Pacemakers. It's very easy to forget that in 1963, that yes, it was Beatlemania, but the band that had whose first 3 hit singles went to #1 was GERRY and the Pacemakers. I think how do you do it? I like it, and You Never Walk Alone. It wasn't a feat that was repeated until Frankie Goes to Hollywood achieved it with their first 3 singles 21 years later. So they was as big as the Beatles, yet it was the Beatles, maybe because they had more charisma, that everyone jumped on. Like I say, they're from Liverpool. George Martin produced them. So yes, it was. It's one of those that sort of like they never took it to the next stage. Jerry Marsden still does a version of the Pacemakers floating around. So nice album actually, and it's got some notes by John Tober as well. Yeah, probably an important band at the time. I think, in my opinion. Next record, it's Little Feat, Time Loves a Hero. This is the band's 6th album from 1977. Slowly building up my Little Feat collection. Band I'm slowly getting into. I found this for a couple of quid. You can probably make out that the cover's a little bit damaged, and there's somebody's put some chip fat on it or whatever. It's like a grease stain on there, but it hasn't affected the record. So yeah, pleased to have that. Do enjoy listening to Lowell George's vocals. This one was an upgrade, but it's standard you find in charity shops in the UK. Mr. Welcome to the Real World. Came out in 1984, 85. It was huge in the States. It really was their big album. It was their big album worldwide, to be quite honest. Broken Wings, Kyrie, Is It Love, just sort of like pop sort of pop rock of the 80s, a typical sounding record. They did try, when it did follow up, it didn't sell as well. And it's sort of like, sort of like, I wouldn't say disappeared, but I think there's a version still going. But it's very much an album of its time. But it's not a bad one. I had the cassette when it first came out, and I absolutely played it to death. I did enjoy it. Status Quo, If You Can't Stand the Heat. This is the band's 11th album. It's reached number 3 in the charts. See the cover. It opens like that. And you've got a book of matches, and then you've got the drums there. Whoops! And the only problem with that is the record flies out. Where are we? Put that back in. Be careful how you put this one in, I think. I recently commented on Hannah, the Omaha introvert. She showed on the Facebook page a Quo album, and I said probably between Pile Driver and Whatever You Want, the band was at their pomp. But I would probably say of the albums they made in that period, this may be the weakest one. It's got an Again and Again on it, and Accident Prone with the singles. Next up, this was a charity shop find. This is Black Widow's Sacrifice. Now, depending on what you read, it's either the first album or their third album. They considered their first album. The 2 albums they did beforehand were very much sort of like local releases that never, I get the impression, never saw the light of day at the time. So this is really considered their debut albums. Sacrifice. It's very, very much into the cult. I mean, you've got the lyrics to probably the best known track on the album, Come to the Sabbath. But it's not a heavy rock album. I would say it's very much a psych blues type album. And in fact, when the next few albums they're released afterwards, sort of they dropped the sort of the occult thing. I think this was sort of to try and grab people's attention. It's not a bad album. I've heard better, but quite interesting actually. The drummer on the album, Clive Box, left the band, and he was replaced by a guy called Romeo Chandler, who later went on to be the drummer for a pop band in the 70s called Shawaddy Waddy. And also, another little tale, I worked with a guy, one of my first jobs, who was a keyboard player, and he played in a band. In fact, the band of the band was Black Widow. It wasn't this. I think the guy who band it was actually brought the name of the guy at the of the. I think it might have been Jim Gann, but you know, this is about 30 years ago I was told this tale, so I'm not really sure how accurate it may be. It's not a bad album, as I said. It's an album of its time. I suspect that they probably wouldn't lean so much on the occult side of things, but it was the Vogue, you know, the Dennis Wheatley novels and the Hammer horror films were all Vogue. This is Colosseum, the Collector's Colosseum. I picked this up really on the back at John Heisman had recently passed away after a brain tumour, and I hadn't really listened to any Colosseum, and it's very difficult to get a hold of. It's very expensive. The originals, they only made about 2 or 3 albums at the time, and then morphed into Colosseum 2. This is, as I say, a comp. This is from 1971. You've got John Heisman's drum kit there. Very much his band. And what you've got, it's a sort of mixture of outtakes and sort of shortened versions of tracks that were released on the album. It's not a bad album. It actually makes me want to go out and look for more. If I could see some at a decent price, I will pick it up. Sort of like getting into more of the jazz fusion. It's very much a sort of jazz rock album. Line-up at the point featured Dick Hextall Smith, Dave Greenslade on organ, Tony Reeves on bass, Dave Clemson on guitar, and for some of the a couple of later albums, Chris Farlow was the vocalist. It's not a really good album. If you haven't heard any Colosseum, it's a good place to start. Next up, this is Dio's Intermission. This is a mini live album released in 1986. The band, it had gone through their first real lineup change. Vivian Campbell had been sacked, and I think it's Craig Goldie had joined the band. And it's trying to span the two periods. The live, it's a mini live album, but there is one studio track which features the new lineup, which is Time to Burn. The live stuff features Vivian Campbell, and there is a complaint that the mix doesn't really put Vivian Campbell's guitar in a good light. It ended in a bad way. As I said, he was sacked from the band. The band I was really pleased to pick in that album two up. This is Gentle Giant, and this is In a Glass House, which was released in 1973. Sort of a thing about, glass house, stones in glass houses. And you open it, get the album out. You see, it's sort of got the card there. Not in the greatest nick. Got the vinyl plates, reasonably okay. It's like, for a couple of quid for Gentle Giant album, I wasn't going to say no. I enjoyed this album. The band didn't enjoy it as much when it came out, even though it was quite very popular with fans, and it really flopped in the US. The label did not like it at all. They didn't see a hit and immediately dropped the band. The band, I think, was under a bit of pressure. This is probably the first album since Phil Shulman had left the band. He was quite a major part of the band, and so sort of struggled. And then, you get one Gentle Giant comes along, you get another one. This is the live album. This is Playing the Fool, double live album, 1977. It's recorded on their European tour, which ran from September to October 1976. And it's a good representation of the band live at that point, as live albums go. It's the first official live album the band put out. And the final album in this batch, I'll probably have saved the best to last. This is Space Ritual, 1973. Double live album recorded from two shows on December 22nd, 1972 at the Liverpool Stadium, and December 30th, 1972 at the Brixton Sundown. Now, this album just absolutely just rams it. You just get hit by a sort of like a whirlwind of sound when you listen to this. And it's just absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love this album to death. It is considered to be one of the great live albums. At this point, HAWKWID, when they went on this tour, had their hit with Silver Machine. So the money started to come in a little bit, and they put their money into producing a live event. I think it's the best way to describe it, more than the show. It was an event. You obviously got Stacey dancing, the band, it got all the lights at the back, everything. And this album sort of in a way reflects that. It's absolutely a great album. If you're looking for HAWKWID, this is as good a place to go. So there you go, VC. That is the 10 albums by bands I've been listening to recently. I'm going to try and slowly catch up. I've been listening to a lot. It's just part of it is just time, watching. I've got, I do have a life, funny enough. So that ends the video. So have a good Sunday. It's Sunday morning. It's grey. Summer's gone. The shorts are packed away for another year. So if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. Thank you to all those who have subscribed to me over the 2 years. It's over 2 years since I've done that's been doing these videos. And I'm quite happy with how they go. I'm not one of these people that sort of like begging for subs. If you want to subscribe, you can. If you don't, that's purely yours. That's way of the world. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Love the interaction. Put a comment on, I will get back to you. Promise. So until the next video, VC, take care of yourselves. Keep spinning. More importantly, keep smiling.